Did you know what was the average GMAT score of the top 5 schools last year? No? Wait, I'll go ahead and tell you. Let's go through this geographically. Let's say if you look at France, HEC, Paris and NCR, which are one of the best schools out there, they have an average of 710. If you look at the UK, London Business School, Oxford, Cambridge hover around 730. If you go to the US, the number even increases higher, especially if you're targeting an M7 school like Stanford, Yale or Chicago Booth. The average is around 740. And guess what, guys? This is an international average. If you're from a high volume country like India or China, you can add plus 20 to plus 30 to this point. Scared yet? Well, you should be. You have to prepare and make sure your GMAT is killer. But what if you don't get a high score? Does that mean that you don't have a shot at any top school? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. And you'll be surprised by the answer. So guys, nowadays there's this buzz about the GMAT exam waiver. And we get questions every day from students regarding if the US or Canada or any European top MBA school is waiving the GMAT or not. And while this is true to a certain extent, there are a lot of caveats around it. The main goal of the GMAT is putting you on the same level as people from different corners of the world. So if the GMAT is so important, why give a GMAT waiver? Hey guys, my name is Abhyank Srinet, CEO and study abroad expert of MIMSA and MentorMe. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how you can get a GMAT waiver and what exactly is the process. But before I begin, do hit the like button and subscribe to MIMSA to get all the latest study abroad updates. GMAT is just one part of the picture. Even for schools where GMAT is required, it is just 25% of the whole weightage. So a lot of schools can do away with the GMAT part and give more stress to your work achievements, to your GPA, to your accomplishments, to the brand that you bring to the school. And this is where the whole waiver or the non-GMAT school system comes into play. According to the GMAT, 2/3 of GMAT test takers last year scored between 400 to 600 in the exam. And statistically speaking, people usually get their desired scores in the second or the third try. Which means you can go ahead and spend almost 75,000 just on the exam alone. So it can be an expensive and a time-consuming affair. Now let me tell you, there are many B schools that are right now waiving off the GMAT requirement. So you actually can get into a good school, and I mean an actual good school, not a tier 2 or a tier 3 school without the GMAT. And yes, you heard that right. You can skip the GMAT exam, but there are certain caveats. Now there are two ways where you can avoid giving the GMAT altogether. Point number one is getting a GMAT waiver, and point number two is applying to schools which have a GMAT optional. So what is the difference between the two? When I say a GMAT waiver, it means you need to apply for the waiver to the specific school, and it will completely be decided by the school whether they give you the waiver or not. Schools like Boston, Cornell, University of North Carolina are giving a GMAT waiver, but you need to go ahead and apply for the same. Now the question is, who will get this waiver and how will they get it? Well, you can go ahead and apply for the waiver by checking the eligibility criteria on the website, and the waiver should be applied before the deadline for the particular round. So if you wish to apply for round 2 deadlines, let's say the deadline is somewhere around December 2nd week, you need to apply for the waiver now and get an answer from the school before you go ahead and submit the application. And now, once the school has confirmed that they're going to give you a waiver, you can go ahead and submit the application without any tension of giving the GMAT. So what exactly is the process to get this waiver? Well, different schools have different requirements. So usually you have to write an essay of around 200 to 300 words along topics such as why exactly do you need the waiver, or why do you think you can succeed in an MBA application without the GMAT, or what kind of quantitative skills do you have and how have you showcased the same. There can be multiple permutations and combinations of the same. Now I must put a disclaimer here. Waivers can be pretty hard to get if you don't have a strong academic background. For example, if you have a very good academic performance in your bachelor, something like a 3.5 GPA or something around 80% plus in your undergrad, or if you have some specific qualification which is globally acceptable like the CA or a CFA, then you have a good shot of getting a waiver because these credentials and your past academic performance mentions that you are good academically, and hence the school can take it as a substitute to your academic performance. Remember, that's what the GMAT judges. Another way that you can get a waiver is by explaining why you cannot give the GMAT. Maybe you have a very hectic professional life, have multiple projects, are dealing with major deadlines. Then there is a good shot that a school may give you a waiver. So those are the conditions to meet a waiver. So how do you really improve your chance of getting a waiver? Well, there is no easy way out, guys. You just need to apply to multiple schools, split between dream, competitive and safe. Now, if you're confused about school selection, I hope you've already gone ahead and booked a free consulting session. If you haven't already, please go ahead and book a free consulting session, and one of our experts will help you understand if you need to give the GMAT or not, what are the schools that give waivers, and exactly how many schools you should be targeting, as well as splitting them between dream, competitive, and safe. If you haven't done that, please go ahead and do it now. So let's say you've gone ahead and emailed 6 to 8 schools, have gotten a yes from most of them, and gone ahead and submitted the application. Congratulations, that is great. But what if you did not get a waiver? Now what? Well, here's the second one that comes into place. These are schools which either have a GMAT optional or even have their own exam. So what does optional really mean? Well, in common layman terms, it just means that if you have the GMAT, well and good, that can help you. If you do not have it, not a problem. The schools will just focus on other parts of your application. Academic acumen, professional experience, leadership, brand, and so on. That is why your applications are so important. So if the school is saying GMAT is optional, you can just go ahead and apply without the GMAT. No problem at all. For example, schools such as USC Marshall, Foster have made the GMAT optional and take a holistic look at your academic history, professional experience, references, and interview. There are also a lot of other schools. You can go ahead and check the names on the screen. Go ahead and take a snapshot. This is one of the most golden nuggets that I can give you. In addition to GMAT optional, there are also some schools that have their own exams. For example, IE has the IGAT, SMU has its own exam. So there are multiple ways you can move around the whole GMAT angle as well. You just need to be aware of the same. So if you're going ahead and applying to a GMAT optional school, just make sure you make your essays really strong. And also add a line either in the optional essay, on your SOPs, on your essays as to why you didn't give the GMAT. Here, make a specific reference to your professional responsibilities or your academic responsibilities so the schools understand that there was a reason you didn't go ahead and give the GMAT. Hence, make sure that your essays are strong. So what's the conclusion? Well, the first thing is go ahead and decide which schools you want to target. Second, go to the school's website and check out if they offer a waiver or not. Third thing, go ahead and apply for these waivers. There is literally no harm. If they say yes, well and good. If they say no, not a problem. You have two options. One, you can target the schools which don't require the GMAT at all or have it optional, or you can just go ahead, man up and give the GMAT, right? It's not that tough, guys, right? You can do it within 2 months of prep. That's all for today, guys. I hope you liked this video and it gave you some good output as well as help you understand what is the path ahead. If you have any other questions related to studying abroad, giving the GMAT, get GRE, go ahead and let me know in the comments below and we'll answer it for you. Lastly, if you like the video, please go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to our channel, and we'll be giving you a lot more valuable content over the days to come.